Wano is officially over. The Straw Hats are moving on to the next island, sailing towards the southeast of Wano. Caribou has gotten his hands on the location of another ancient weapon, and Yamato is ready to leave Wano and become a pirate in proper Oden fashion. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot. Freaking Buggy has apparently somehow managed to get not only Sir Crocodile under its mantle, but even Mihawk, which I feel exactly the same way about as Zoro does in this chapter as well. So let's talk about this one first, shall we? Now, in what universe exactly does someone like Dracul Mihawk listen to the commands of anyone, much less someone like Buggy the freaking clown? This really seems like something that should be on the top 10 list of things that will never ever happen in One Piece, and yet here we are. Emperor of the Sea Buggy the Clown has created an organization called Cross Guilds, which is a really cool name, I have to shamelessly admit that. This organization seems to be the next evolutionary step of Buggy's delivery service, only that this one actually looks like something you should take seriously. We do know from the war that Crocodile is very far from being a joke. Even though he lost to Luffy when he was admittedly still quite weak, we know that this man went for Whitebeard's head and fought with admirals during the war at Marineford. In other words, he clearly didn't just become a warlord of the sea by accident, unlike Buggy. And of course, some people will gladly tell you that having Mihawk on your team basically automatically makes you a Yonko anyways, given his reputation and legendary duels with Shanks. Now, I personally am still very skeptical if Mihawk could legitimately defeat any of the former Yonko, but he's without any doubt at least very close to that level. I think we all can agree to at least that. He's more powerful than someone like King or Katakuri. And who knows, maybe he is actually in that top tier. We'll just have to actually see him fight seriously in order to find out. But even if Mihawk is a Yonko level dude in disguise, then it makes it even less likely or sensible why he'd ever agree to work under someone like Buggy. Now, you could of course argue that Mihawk and Crocodile simply agreed to Buggy being the boss officially to keep a low profile, well knowing that Buggy is really a fraud. But even in chaotic times like these, Mihawk and Crocodile are both way too proud and care about their honor to let something like that happen. But as if this strangely powerful alliance wasn't enough by itself, however, the Cross Guild has also played the ultimate Uno reverse +2/+4 card on the world government, and in an absolutely Chad-like move, started putting bounties on the heads of Marines. Now, this is some big brain move right there from the man with the strangely large head. This way, top Marines all across the world will suddenly have to worry about being attacked themselves by citizens or pirates or bounty hunters. There's now a real incentive for people to come after them. Just like pirates can never be sure who's watching them and what place is or is not safe, this is an enormous shift in the power dynamics of the world. With countries all over the planet in uproar and open rebellion against the government, this is a really big deal. It also, strangely enough, plays a lot into the hands of the revolutionaries, though I wonder if that was actually on purpose or not. I'm very curious if it was the alliance with Crocodile and Mihawk or the bounties that ultimately made the government declare Buggy as an emperor. Probably both. But I still feel like even more must have happened to really justify that. And so the really big question now is, of course, once again, is Buggy simply the luckiest man alive that is the embodiment of fake it till you make it? Because Oda Sensei is doing a fantastic job selling the idea that Buggy is some sort of One Piece Aizen that has kept his true powers and intentions hidden, only to strike when the time feels right. I have discussed this option in depth in this video on Buggy after it was revealed that he joined the Yonko. I think both options are equally awesome, and so it really comes down to what way Oda Sensei wants to take this in. Is Buggy the fraud that we know him to be, that simply failed his way all the way up to the top? A fun character that just has to play some role in helping Luffy become Pirate King, probably against his will, who then ended up on Laugh Tale by pure chance? Or is Buggy the lurking legend, someone who was trained under the former pirate king, who other than Shanks has decided to lay low and bide his time? I will say that Buggy looks very much like the real deal in this poster here, so I really can't wait to find out which of these two truths it is. And even though I've mostly talked about Mihawk here, I am so pumped that Crocodile is part of this as well. No matter if Crocomom is true or not, in case you don't know, that's the theory that Crocodile is actually Luffy's mom. You can check out my video about that one later if you want. He is an awesome character that for some reason decided to defend Luffy at Marineford. And so I really can't wait to see these two reunited once again as well. And then of course we also have to talk about leaving Wano. In the end, while I still wish that we could have spent some more time wrapping everything up and saying goodbye to all the wonderful characters that we spent 4 entire years with, I personally am leaving Wano with nothing but immensely positive emotions really. It genuinely was my favorite arc and island of One Piece so far, and I'm already working on a full analysis of the entire arc, so make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss that. It's actually free to subscribe, you know? Now, the thing that I was actually most excited about this chapter is Yamato at the end, standing on top of the palace, ready to join Luffy and co. I was actually a bit confused at first why she's still there and why the Straw Hats were getting ready to leave without her, but I guess Oda-sensei just wanted to give Yamato that classic Oden moment of running towards the sea and finally leaving Wano to become a pirate. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we're gonna see her on board of the Thousand Sunny in the next chapter. God, Yamato is awesome. I actually do have a bit of a declaration to make. I do think at this point it's pretty fair to say that Yamato is my favorite character in One Piece, dethroning Zoro to a close second. I don't know why, but I just really vibe with Yamato in so many ways. But this is also the time to say goodbye to a bunch of other characters, at least for now. All the Scabbards, especially of course Kinemon, Momonosuke, who we already know will return to play a very important role later on in the story. I also love that Sukiyaki, by the way, revealed himself to Momo and Hiyori in the end, so they actually do have some true guidance on how to run the country with their grandfather. Plus, of course, we do get one last awesome Kinemon meme. Carrot, who I never really saw becoming a Straw Hat honestly, but who I genuinely loved as a character nonetheless, who has now been tasked with the ridiculous responsibility to rule over the entire Mink Kingdom, which, you know, seems like a very strange and cruel decision in a way. The two experienced and elder leaders chill in Wano with their buddies and tell the little bunny girl that she's now responsible for the safety and survival of her entire race. Now, nothing against you, Carrot, but boy, that might be a little bit above her pay grade, huh? They do say that she saw the outside world, but it was really just Wano and Whole Cake Islands. But then again, who am I to judge, right? The character that I think is maybe the hardest to see go and that has been around as long as Momo and Kinemon is of course Law, who has been with the crew since Punk Hazard and basically the entire post-time skip saga. Both Law and Kid are of course far from out of the story. Much rather, Oda-sensei actually tries to make it a point here to set them up as legit rivals to Luffy becoming Pirate King, but it still feels like the end to an era, if you know what I mean. And I think we all do know that neither Law nor Kid in the end will actually fight Luffy for the One Piece, but will stand by his side again in the future. I really love that Law shared the poneglyph with Kid, by the way, which was very unlike him, but really shows the respect that these three captains do have for each other now. Kid also tells us this mysterious story about going after the man with the burning wound that seems to be related to the last poneglyph, but isn't quite as nice as Law to share it with the others. Now, I've been really thinking about this and I might have forgotten other characters that do have a burning mark, but the only person that comes to mind really with this in One Piece is actually Luffy's brother Sabo. So could the revolutionaries have something to do with all this? Given that all three captains are now officially leaving on different routes, I think it's fair to assume that we're actually going to a new island next as well. And that, of course, for the Straw Hats, hopefully is going to be Elbaf, where they might finally meet Shanks. And if you want to know what will happen when these two finally meet, you should really not miss out on this video right here.